we're happy to unsuspend and resume. We are back with officials from the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet. Senator McGrath.
I think I've got a question about the Prime Minister's visit to Washington last year. All good? Thank you. For the Prime Minister's visit to Washington last year for the Quad, which was ahead of the presidential election, was the department asked to provide advice, or did the department provide advice to the Prime Minister or his office about seeking a meeting with President Trump weeks before he was re-elected?
No, Senator.
So the department was not asked to provide advice. That's a no to that answer.
That's correct.
And it's no to the, did the department provide advice to the Prime Minister or his office?
That's correct, yeah. Senator.
Minister, obviously with the two hats that you wear, why wasn't the department asked to provide advice to the Prime Minister in relation to a meeting with President Trump?
This is pre the election, correct?
Correct.
So the question is, why? Sorry, why?
The question was, yeah, when the Prime Minister was in Washington last year, was the department asked to provide?
He wasn't. So this is why I'm confused. Sorry, the meeting was in Delaware.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Delaware.
That's why I was confused. I think
so
Washington was
Delaware
earlier, July, wasn't it?
Well, just to clarify the geography, in relation to the Prime Minister's visit to Delaware, ahead of the presidential election, I'm just checking that your answer still stayed the same. Your answer still the same. So my question to you, Minister, is why was it the case that the department was not asked to provide advice to the Prime Minister in relation to a meeting with candidate Trump, or as the Americans would still call him, President Trump at that point?
Well, I mean, the purpose of the meeting was to attend the Quad, which I think is what all leaders did. But if there's anything further I can provide for you on that, I will.
Minister, is it something you think the Prime Minister should have sought a meeting with one of the two contenders for the presidency of the United States?
You're asking me an opinion.
Well, I'm asking you, as the Minister representing the Prime Minister, whether he should have sought a meeting.
It's not really a question for me.
It's not a question for you?
No.
Representing the Prime Minister?
Well, you're asking my personal opinion.
I'm asking you representing the Prime Minister.
You asked me what his opinion is.
I'm asking the Prime Minister whether he should have sought a view.
This is very confusing. I will take on notice your question, which I think is you're asking the Prime Minister whether or not he should have. Is that right?
That can be one question, yes.
Okay.
Should he have sought? Should the Prime Minister have sought? Did the Prime Minister?
I would say to you, Senator, and I'm sure you know this as a matter of general practice, the relationship is with the country. That generally we would not engage we would engage with the elected leader or the members of, in whatever country you go to, you would engage with the leader or your counterpart. There may be occasions on which you'd meet with the opposition. It would be unusual to do that in the context, well, I should say, it would not be normal practice or standard practice to meet with candidates ahead of an election.
Sir Keir Starmer did.
I think after the election.
No.
I'm sorry. I thought it was after, but
no.
Before inauguration. But I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong.
So I suppose.
But I would say the Prime Minister's obviously had 2 very positive conversations with President Trump after his election and then after the inauguration.
So I suppose if Sir Keir Starmer is able to do it, why wouldn't the Prime Minister meet with candidate / President Trump?
I've answered that, and I'll take on notice if there's any further information I can provide.
Okay. That's finished with that bit. I do have some general questions. So
most of your questions have been general.
It's from general questions.
I smiled when I said that afterwards. So.
From general questions, you normally get specific answers sometimes, Minister. So my question is to you, Mr. Hare. In relation to any committees that fall within the remit of the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet that require, so I'm not talking about internal departmental committees, but committees that require external appointments, are all committees filled at the moment?
Committees?
Yes, in terms of are all committees, do they have a full complement? Are there any vacancies on committees that sit within Prime Minister and Cabinet? I'm okay if you need to take this on notice, by the way.
Can I just clarify, statutory appointments?
Yeah.
I think they're pretty close to full, but I can check that, take the right detail on notice.
Do I have an answer in relation to my questions about the... Oh, you do?
I do.
About the Teal Party / crossbench party at the Lodge.
I don't think Di Lee would appreciate you calling her a teal.
I did say crossbench then, Minister. I said Teal crossbench party.
Or your former member, Mashaki.
I think Di Lee is very much on the crossbench at the moment in relation to...
No, I'm just saying. I think I know that you'd like to diss the teals, but really...
Mr. Hare, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. So, as we indicated earlier, it's long-standing practice for the Prime Minister to host or agree to the use of official establishments for events and functions. This event was organised by the Prime Minister's office in accordance with official establishments guidelines for use, and the department had no involvement in the organisation of the event. So we didn't issue invitations or organise any part of this.
So the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet had absolutely nothing to do with the Teal / crossbench party at the Lodge?
That's correct.
Minister, on behalf of the Prime Minister's office / the Prime Minister, are you able to answer the questions that were put on notice earlier?
No, I'd have to take them on notice.
So you don't know who was invited?
I told you, I think we were sitting.
And I also said that you have a permanent pair.
You know, you say that. I don't know if you noticed, but I tend to hang around to make sure you don't do things that I don't want you to do.
That's very hurtful, Senator Wong. It's very hurtful, Senator Wong. That concludes my questions, so thank you.
Thank you, Senator McGrath.
Senator Hume.
Now she's waiting patiently for her
Senator
bit.
Little. Okay. We are able to conclude, therefore, the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet Thank you all for your attendance today. Thank you all for being here for that extra couple of hours, but I'm sure you're nevertheless still relieved it was short and sweet once we got back to it. We are now inviting the Australian National Audit Office to the table.
They in the room? You could suspend it.
Yeah, we might just suspend while we're waiting.